I use Google Gemini to code, and I'm going to tell you why, so don't judge me, but it is the best place for coding right now. So the reason being is, I started out coding in ChatGPT. Well, not coding, that was in my undergrad, but ChatGPT is where I would go to paste my code in. I'd paste my code in, I'd paste the error in, and I'd get a response. And now, this was brilliant, because I would literally just copy paste all day, copy paste. But sometimes it's wrong. ChatGPT quite often can be wrong. And so then I had to start thinking of something else. And now the other LLM that people rave about is Claude. So I started using Claude. Now the cool thing with Claude is it's much better than ChatGPT. The bad thing with Claude is the amount of tokens that you can use or the amount of queries that you get. So if we go over to Claude, we can see that you get a limited free plan, right? So you only get a few queries, like 5 or something, right? That normally, when I would be pasting in code, I get maybe 3 to 5, and then it'd be like, that's you don't get any more for however long, so many hours, right? So I looked at upgrading it, but when I try to upgrade it, all it gives me is more usage than free for £195 a year. So more usage than free, not even unlimited, just more usage, which I don't want more usage. I want unlimited, because like ChatGPT, I pay whatever it is, like $20 a month, and I get completely unlimited ChatGPT. Now, there is a new O3 Mini High. Don't use it. It's rubbish. In my opinion, for my use cases, 4.0 has been much better than O3 Mini High. So, just something to consider. So, now I'm in this situation where I use ChatGPT for the copy-paste. If it can't get it wrong, then I go to Claude until I run out of tokens, and then I go back to ChatGPT. Now, this was fine until my code paste got so big that I just couldn't really paste it in anymore. It just wouldn't work. It would either clip it or whatever, right? Because I'd have thousands of lines of code. So, the solution, the possible solution, GitHub Copilot. Boom, right in my IDE, VS Code, it's just right there. I'm like, boom, tell me the answer, and it's there. Well, a couple of things about that. Maybe it's the learning curve, right? Maybe it's because I've not used it or whatever, but it just seems a bit complicated. I think the main problem that I have is it's all up in my grill all the time. I'm trying to just code, and it's like, do you want me to write this code? And I'm like, no, and I have to stop. It's like I like a nice, simple, plain editor. Like even VS Code feels a bit too much for me. I just want a nice, plain text. I want Notepad++, pretty much. So anyway, that annoys the life out of me. I hate it. Even sometimes it's like, right, here's a function. So I'll write a comment. I'll say, I want a function that say calculates days between days. And then it'll put it in, and I'll be like, this is not what I want. You're not using the variables I want. Just a nightmare. I'm like, read my mind better. So I don't like GitHub Copilot. I don't like it all up in my grill. I want somewhere that's kind of not inside my code. Because, for example, you'll maybe have seen that I created a video where I made a DeepSeek powered IDE. It was essentially an IDE like this here on one side with my files up the top, so all the files I'd have open, and then a chatbot on the side with a little messenger, right? And here, whenever you would have files open, it would take these into the context, you'd paste in your error, boom, it'd give you an answer, right? And that's nice, I like it, it was slick, right? Anyway, it's obviously not as good as VS Code because I made it, not a team of guys, and I made it in like a day. Anyway, so after this, we don't want to do GitHub Copilot or Tab9 or any of that stuff, and cursor's spelled like this. K-U-R-S-O-R. Cursor. So we're not using cursor. So anyway, we then start looking at Gemini. Why? Why Gemini? Look, well, code base too big. Why code base too big? Problem 412. Because here, the context window, i.e. the amount of stuff, context window, that we can pass into an LLM is about 128,000 tokens, which sounds like a lot, but when you're pasting in code, it is not that many. So 128,000 tokens, not enough. So we're then thinking, let's go to Gemini. Why? Because Gemini have 1 million token capacity. Amazing. Now, when you use it here, problem is it's kind of like ChatGPT. It's just a bit it's not got all the stuff I want. Then I found the best thing ever. Google AI Studio. So Google AI Studio, if we zoom in here, you can see that it's like ChatGPT or like any LLM, type something and run it. However, I can add files and I can add a bunch of files. I can add I think the most I added was like 20 files and it worked fine. The token count, as you can see here, 2 million. So we have 1 million for Gemini, right? But if we do the experimental 2.0, which is free, right? You get 2 million tokens, which is unbelievable. So other cool stuff you can do, you can stream, so you can actually send it video and say like what is in the video, what are we looking at here. You can share your screen and say what's on my screen, tell me what to do. Super cool stuff. Additionally, you can ask structured output, execute some code, call some functions, etc, etc. And you can even just get the code for the API. And the cool thing is, as I was saying, this 2.0 with 2 million tokens, the Flash experimental thinking experiment, one of them is free. $0 in, $0 out. It's experimental, so it might not be the best, but it's really good for proof of concept. And in this playground, it's perfect, except when it's not. So one thing to note is, honestly, if you have little problems where you're like, I know where this is, because say you could ask Google AI Studio, you could just put in all your code and say, where is this logic? And it'll go and find it. Then pass that logic and the error into Claude, and Claude will probably give you a better answer. But for the context, you can paste all your files in. But here's an example here that I posted on LinkedIn about, how it can be a bit sketchy. So on Google AI Studio, there's a piece where you can click Get Code. Now this code will, if you've got like actual prompts in here, like a big chat history, if you click on Get Code, it will take the entire chat history as well. So you can literally copy this, paste it in like a Python file, and then run it, and it will literally be this entire chat continued. But if you get an empty one, so you got to say create prompt to get an empty one, click Get Code, it will just give you the basic structure for integrating the API endpoint into your code, right? So the API code is here, right? And I paste it into my message, and I'm like, mate, please integrate this into my app instead of OpenAI, because I wanted it to be free for the tokens, right? You can use Grok, Grok. However, Grok, it's mainly based on Llama models, and Llama models aren't very good at handling JSON, etc, etc. So they're just not the best. Now, I keep asking it to fix this and implement this API code, and every time it's like, can't do it, or it'll say, here it is, and then I'll be like, it doesn't work, and it'll go, oh sorry, here it is, doesn't work, oh sorry. You know what it's like with LLMs. So then I kicked off at him, and he was like, you're right to be frustrated. It seems I'm having trouble getting the Gemini API integration correct. It can't even integrate its own API, which annoyed the life out of me. So anyway, it doesn't really have good proprietary knowledge on any Google products, YouTube, etc. When you ask for Google hashtags, it literally gives you hashtag da-da-da, hashtag da-da-da, and then I'm like, mate, that's not how hashtags are anymore on YouTube. You literally paste it in as a word delimited by a comma, so word, comma. Anyway, didn't know that either. So it's not the best, but it's good. So anyway, I've been saying here that when it's not getting exactly what you want, go back to Claude. So there's a possible Claude solution, Claude Code, which literally is a little Claude coding agent. You just ask him to do stuff and he goes and does it, right? And it looks like it's really good, right? Which is amazing. So let's start using it. No, because it's absolutely extortionate. So is Claude expensive, or am I just using it wrong? And you'll get people in the comments going, you're using it wrong, you're not using it properly, you're supposed to use it like this, you're supposed to use it like that. Like, mate, I just want it to work. I just want it, like, why can't it have a wrapper around it to minimise the amount of tokens it needs or something? Obviously it's because then they'd make less money, but you know what I mean? I don't want to have to specifically use it a specific way. I just want to be able to paste my code in and the error, give me the response. So it's extortionate. For example, I had seen that to write LS in the terminal costs 2 cents. And also remember that Claude Code, if you've seen any of the videos on it, it's not 100% correct. It is often wrong, or kind of, it's just not as good as a human. But 2 cents to do LS which takes like 2 seconds just to go. You literally just go ls enter, right? And that's 2 seconds. If we were to then scale that up, I can't remember how much it is, but I was trying to work it out, and I swear it's like $1 million a year if you were to have this running 24/7, and you'd also need somebody else to watch over it. So as you can see, it's not going to take your job yet, but you know, it's worth looking into if you want. But really, they're just glorified prototype creation agents more than anything else. So anyway, this is why I use Gemini. Long and short of it, it's completely free. It takes in 2 million tokens, which is my entire code base plus querying, and I can just keep going back and forward. And whenever I do any updates, which Google didn't tell me, I just tell it, I'm like, this is the new update that I've added to the file, and it's like, cool, and then we just keep moving forward. So if you are working with code and you're like me, you don't like having GitHub Copilot, etc., you want it kind of outside of your code base, then look into Gemini. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Also, I am creating a new community, a school community with courses, community, live calls, all that good stuff for AI enthusiasts who want to create AI agents. So enthusiasts and entrepreneurs. If you're interested, it will be the link in the description below. Go check it out, sign up to the waitlist, and you will get money off when the course launches in the next week or so. So it's currently like the 3rd of March. If you're watching this and it's after the 10th of March, the course will be out. Go and get it now. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye. Oh, and use Gemini.